What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to episode number 20 of the Spun Today podcast. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Thank you very much for listening. If this is your first episode that you're listening to, welcome. There's 19 others besides this one, so you guys can go back and take a listen and figure out the format of this thing. And for those of you that are regular listeners, the half a dozen of you, this is going to be another free writing session episode. And it's probably going to be a bit shorter than normal. Recording this shit the night before it's due. Or due like it's a fucking class paper or something like that. But yeah, I release them every other Thursday. I'm really going to stick to that and want to, unless some like unforeseen thing happens. But failing to prepare, I didn't set up this episode beforehand. Normally, like I try recording them like on a weekend or something like that, like on a Saturday or Sunday, and like take my time because I do like the episode notes and try to have at least some sort of idea of what I'm going to speak about, aside from like the free writing like portion of it that I go over. I write some bullet points for an intro and outro stuff and stuff like that, just to go over like things that I've been doing lately and stuff like that. But I space that out normally, like throughout the week, and makes it easier that way. And then just sit down, record the podcast, then do like all the post shit. Which for these episodes, these free writing ones, there's no editing or anything like that. So there's not too much to do in post in terms of like the quality of it and stuff. But you still have to upload it to Libsyn, and then I have to add it to the website, and then convert the MP3 file after writing like all the tags and yada yada yada, all the podcast shit that goes into it, to convert it to a .mov file, whatever the fuck that means. But that's the only thing that YouTube accepts, so I can post this podcast on YouTube as well. Which, by the way, you guys can listen to all the podcasts on YouTube if you choose to. If you don't want to listen through iTunes or Stitcher or wherever it is that you guys listen to your podcasts. I know some people can't. For example, like when you have like a desk job, 9 to 5 or whatever. Sometimes you have a douchebag boss that's on you about your phone or something like that, and you could actually like plug your headphones into the computer and just listen that way. If that's the case, you can go to my website, spuntoday.com, and at the bottom there's a link for YouTube, like the little YouTube icon. You can click on that. All of the Spun Today podcast episodes are on there. You can listen there, or actually directly on the website you could listen if you want. There's a podcast tab on the website, and you can listen to all the episodes there as well, which is another place that I have to post it after I record it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's fucking like 10:45 p.m. right now, the night before it's due, and it's gonna be a long night, pretty much, but that's what I get, right, for waiting. Anyway, the reason why I couldn't set this up on the weekend is because, like I mentioned to you guys before, I had the 5-borough bike tour, which, for those of you that don't know, is a 40-mile biking marathon, basically. Of this year's about 32,000 people took part in it, and 0 cars. So Bike New York, which is the agency that puts this thing together, in conjunction with New York City, does this tour yearly, and they close down a bunch of streets and avenues and bridges and tunnels and a bunch of dope places that you normally don't get to bike ride through, for the purposes of this tour, for 40 miles throughout all of the 5 boroughs. The 5 boroughs, for anybody outside of New York or that just doesn't know, are Manhattan, Queens, which is the best borough, of course, Brooklyn, which is a close second, And what else? The Bronx, which is the shittiest fucking borough. Unless you're a fan of the podcast and live in the Bronx and happen to like the Bronx, then I love the Bronx. And what else? Staten Island. Those are the 5 boroughs. So the way the tour works is that you begin in Lower Manhattan, like right by like Chambers, like that area, like around the Freedom Tower, and you go like all the way up through. I think it was 6th Avenue, Avenue of the Americas. Like all that shit's closed down. You go all the way up like towards and through Central Park, and so you pass by like Radio City and stuff like that, and like the streets are literally like closed, like to all auto traffic and stuff like that. So it's pretty dope. You get to just ride in the middle of the street like you normally wouldn't be able to, unless you're one of those like Chinese delivery guys or something. And then you go through Central Park, which is dope. Actually, I go there to train like I have with my boy Pablo. And what else? Then after that, I think it goes up to Harlem. So you're still in Manhattan at that point. Then it crosses over to the Bronx, crosses over Madison Avenue Bridge, I want to say. I don't remember the name of it. Then from the Bronx, it goes down to Queens. And you cross the, what do you cross? The Queensboro Bridge, the 59th Street Bridge. But I don't know if that's it's from Manhattan to Queens. And that's really dope because I know that bridge well. That's one of the bridges that whenever I go into the city I take because that's one of the free ones that you don't have to pay the fucking toll for. And what else? Then after Queens, then you go to Brooklyn, or you like cross back I think into the city, and then cross right back over into Brooklyn or some shit like that. There's some little like loopy thing that goes on there. Then you go all the way through Brooklyn and all the way down to the bottom, and then you have to cross the Verrazano, which is like the last final stretch of it. And you cross the Verrazano. It's a long ass fucking bridge, so it's like an incline that's like mad long, but not like too inclined, but it's just long. You know what I mean? And like a slight incline, so it's like a bit of a bitch, especially after at that point you're like at 35 miles when you're crossing that. So like you're just like tired as is. And the stretch before that, actually before reaching the Verrazano, which is like the BQE or Gowanus Parkway, I think it's called, which is definitely the BQE. It's like super windy and like open, and that's a bitch because it's like also like inclined a little bit in like most parts. I hate that part. I did it last year and this year, and both years it's like the worst part of like the whole shit. But it gets you to the Verrazano, and then you have like that final stretch there. And when you get across it, literally like when you get over that like little like hump when you get to the peak of it, and then you just let the bike go, and you're just going like 20 something miles, 25 miles per hour on the bike, just like by gravity's sake, just like on the decline on the way down. It feels really dope, and you're looking at the views throughout the entire city, especially at that point. And you get down to the bottom of it, and there's like this big Finnish festival with a bunch of like vendors, and everybody just chilling, relaxing like on the grass. And there's a band playing, and there's a lot of bands playing actually throughout like the whole event. They do it pretty dope. You have like jazz bands in like parts of Harlem. You have like a Tito Puente style fucking dude playing like the congas and stuff like that. Some Spanish salsa music, like I guess in like Spanish Harlem area, and stuff like that. They put those little like subtle nuances like throughout the whole thing in it too, and it's pretty cool. You have like some hipster fucking rock bands and throughout Brooklyn and Williamsburg and like those areas. So they do it pretty dope. It was a pretty cool experience. I did it, of course, with my boy Pablo, and his cousin Maggie and her husband Bobby, and we all had a dope time, man. Good times with good people. So it was cool. Definitely looking forward to doing it again next year. And I recommend it to you guys. Anybody's into biking, or even if you're not into biking, it's just like a cool experience. Like if you're not into biking, just want to do it one time just to see like New York City, in that different that different way, that different light. It's a cool experience. There's people that come from like out of town, like just to do it, and it's pretty cool, man. Aside from that, I got the camera that I told you guys about that I was gonna order. Finally got it, the Canon Rebel SL1, and it's dope. I like it. I'm still learning how to like play with it and use it. Haven't gone out yet to like take pictures outside. When I do, I definitely will. Go out and like post some new photos on the website with the camera. Just have played with it like around the house and taking pictures of shit and trying to figure out like how to zoom it and just like all the functionality of it. There's actually, for anybody who's I guess like starting to be into photography like I am, I've always been into it, but I've never I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? I was always like a point and shoot, like digital camera type of dude, and just like taking pictures of shit. You know what I mean? I'm not like deep into the whole like photography like world. But I want to be. So I got this camera, and I'm starting to read certain like websites, and there was a cool one that I found that I subscribe to like their newsletter, and they send a lot of like information about like photography jargon, and they tell you what an ISO is and like the three main aspects of a camera, like the aperture and exposure and ISO, and they teach you like what all those numbers are like around the lens, like the zoom and stuff like that. Like the standard DSLR lens is like a 18 to 55. Then the telephoto lenses begin at like 55 to 250. That's the two lenses that I have. The 18 to 55 is the stock one that comes with the camera, and then from 55 to 250 is like the next level of zoom. Then you would have obviously like 250 and up, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's a pretty cool, it has like different guides like that, and for newbies. And I found it helpful, and like the way they write their articles with like different metaphors of explaining how the lighting works and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool. You guys should check it out. It's called what is it? Let me see. I think it's a digital photography school, something like that. I'm looking it up on my phone right now as we speak, but I'm trying to find the name of the actual. Let's see. Yeah, just Google Digital Photography School, and the emails come from DPS. That's like, I don't know, the acronym of it or whatever. Digital Photography School. Check that out. I've found it helpful. Maybe you guys will also if you're into that. And if not, then whatever. Let me know if you guys know of any. By the way, that I should check out. Again, it's the Rebel SL1 Canon. It was on like a bunch of. It got like a shitload of good reviews on Amazon. Out of thousands and thousands of reviews, it was well, actually not thousands. It was like 3,000 or something like that. I think it had like 4.5 stars. It was on CNET's top 10 cameras of 2014. It's the smallest and lightest DSLR camera to date. Sorry guys, I just realized that the recording cut off on me. The fucking MP3 recorder says that the SD card is full, even though it only has like 3 fucking things in it. But of course, El Mimo Diablo, like my fiance says, when it fucking rains it pours. Trying to get this thing out the night before, and of course everything that can go wrong will, right? Murphy's Law or some shit like that. But in the interest of getting the podcast out on time, I'm going to sacrifice a bit of the quality and just record the rest of it on my cell phone. And I'll splice it together with the what I was able to salvage from the MP3 recorder. Then I'll figure out what went wrong with it later. I think it's the, like when you like delete something from an SD card or like a USB, and you don't like secure empty the trash, at least on a Mac, I don't know if it's the same shit with Windows computers. If you don't like secure empty the trash, it really doesn't delete it from like the memory of the USB or the SD card or whatever the fuck it is you're erasing it from, for some reason. So I'm guessing that's what it is, because again, there's like fucking three things on the MP3 recorder, and there's shitload of stuff like in my trash. So maybe that's why. And then of course I'm secure emptying trash, and there's like a billion things in there, so it's gonna take forever to do. And it's fucking late, and I gotta work tomorrow because I still have a 9 to 5 job, because you guys haven't supported the podcast financially enough for me to say fuck corporate America. And I haven't written that New York Times bestseller just yet. So, yeah, where'd I leave off? It said in the piece that I saw, which the last thing was, I was speaking about the camera. It's the smallest and lightest DSLR camera to date. And that's one of the things that actually led me to, influenced me to purchase it, because, like I was saying before, I've always had like the digital cameras, those like small point and shoot cameras, and what shied me away from DSLRs is the fact that they're all like big and bulky. So this one is a little bigger and bulkier, obviously, than a standard little point and shoot camera, but quality wise, it's definitely worth it, and it's much smaller than like a standard DSLR camera. Also, with like the way as good as phone cameras are right now, like if you're ever in a situation like a party or like anything like that where you want to use the camera, you just use your fucking phone, right? And you get dope pictures. I've taken plenty of pictures like on my phone that come out really well. And but for, like landscape stuff, which I like taking pictures of, then you can pull out the big boy camera and do it that way. So that's why I got it, decided to give it a whirl and figure it out. So yeah, if you guys have any like sites or blogs or anything like that give some good tips, or maybe like podcasts even on photography, let me know. I'll be interested in looking into them. And that's it with that. I saw recently a documentary which is pretty cool that you guys should check out. It's called Inequality for All. And I heard about it for the first time in Cara Santa Maria's podcast, which is Talk Nerdy. You guys should check that out also. She's dope. She mentioned it, and I checked it out. I really liked it. It's pretty informative. It's ex-Labor Secretary Robert Reich, Reich, R-E-I-C-H, something like that. He was the Labor Secretary on Bill Clinton's cabinet. And now he's like a professor at Berkeley, I think, in California. And he was really cool. Like, followed him around, and he was speaking about pretty much how inequality is the biggest issue in our economy now, and made all his points for it. And it was pretty informative. I enjoyed it. And inequality being like the inequality in income and the disparity between like the super rich and super poor, and the lack of a true middle class as we used to know it. And like the whole concept of the middle class, or not the middle class, the like middle out economics is based on the fact that I think it's like somewhere around like 70% of the U.S.'s like GDP comes from consumer spending, and the people spending are like the middle class and lower classes. And that's like the concept of like growing the economy from like the middle out, as opposed to like the trickle down economics from the top down, which I'm sure there's valid like arguments for. But a good point that was brought up by like some billionaire dude that was on the podcast that on the documentary, that has a like I think it's like a huge like pillow manufacturing company or something like that. I forgot what it was, right? I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because he made the analogy of how he, being a billionaire, only sleeps on one pillow. You know what I mean? It's not like he buys millions of pillows and stimulates the economy that way. And, there's only like a handful of jeans that he uses and a handful of shirts that he uses. And the economy is not being stimulated by that money of like the super wealthy, because that money is sitting like in banks and in vaults and accruing interest, not actually stimulating the economy like the other 70% of what the GDP is made up of, which is consumer spending. So it's a pretty dope documentary. You guys should check it out. Again, it's called Inequality for All. Obviously, it'll do a much better job of explaining if you guys would actually watch the documentary instead of listening to me paraphrasing it and probably butchering like the whole concept of it. But it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. And on another note, a update to my quest for perfect coffee. I'm learning that Dominicans have it right so far. I haven't found a substitute for Bustelo. Questioning why I started even looking for one in the first place. Because the ones that I've tried, they've been decent, but not great. I tried that I think it was the Guatemalan coffee that I told you guys about last time. The pea berry something limited time fucking Trader Joe's Guatemalan coffee, which was good, but not as good, I guess, as Bustelo. And then I tried the Kona coffee next, which I'm finishing up now, and again, not as good. I'm thinking, because I have a Greca, that's what we use here, which is like straight Dominican. if you don't know what it is, it's like, I don't know, like a metal looking, like tall teapot or tea kettle looking thing that it's like considered like a drip coffee kind of. You put it like on top of the stove, and it has like a little metal filter thing. You fill up the base of it with water. It has a little metal filter thing that you put on top of it, of the water, with like this. It looks like a funnel kind of, but it's metal. You put the coffee in that, and then on top of it, you screw on the top, and then the heat from the stove, like percolates and bubbles up the water, heats it up, and it makes it rise through the like the filters through the coffee, and then the top part somehow fucking has all the coffee in it. And it is like a traditional, like Dominican fucking thing to make coffee in. So I grinded the coffee beans like kind of coarse, like kind of thick. And I noticed recently that like the Bustelo coffee is ground like for espresso purposes. And the next one I do, I'm gonna grind like that, like the Bustelo one is, like a thin espresso bean, like grind to it, to see if that maybe has to do with the taste, or maybe just like the other coffees to me aren't as good so far. But yeah, I tried those two, the Kona coffee and the Guatemalan pea berry, and so far Bustelo's still ahead. I keep going back to it. And yeah, if you guys have any coffees to recommend, definitely let me know. I'd be very interested to try and check them out. What else? Oh yeah, this episode is coming out tomorrow, which is May 7th. There is going to be one more episode on May 21st. That I'll be recording, obviously. And then I'm gonna definitely stay on schedule with releasing an episode every other Thursday. But I just want to mention to you guys that it's gonna be the ones after that, on whatever that first Thursday in June is, and then the third Thursday in June after that, I'm not gonna be here, so I'm gonna pre-record those episodes, and figure out how to like set the dates and release them like in the future. But I'm gonna set that up before I leave. I'm actually gonna be going to India. My the company I work for is shipping me out there for 3 weeks, which should be a cool experience. Get to see something different, and definitely on the company's dime. So that's a definite plus. But it's part of the whole fucking evil, quote unquote, corporate America style of doing things. They're pretty much outsourcing a shitload of jobs out to India, and I'm part of a team that's training the people that the jobs are being outsourced to. So it's a little bittersweet in that sense. And but the silver lining of it is, get a fucking free trip out to somewhere else in the world that I haven't seen and that I would really like to. I like experiencing new shit. Definitely gonna podcast from there, just to let you guys know how that's going and how that experience is. And definitely planning on taking a bunch of pictures and for the website, which is spuntoday.com, by the way, if I haven't plugged that yet. And for the Instagram at spuntoday, and the Twitter page at spuntoday, which, by the way, I put up a few pictures from the 5-borough bike marathon, which I mentioned earlier. So you guys can go check that out on those places. I think I just tweeted it and put it on Instagram, not actually on the website. So definitely check that out, and let me know what you guys think. But yeah, I'm going through that process now. I had to get shots and fucking hepatitis shots and malaria pills and a whole bunch of shit to prepare myself, I guess, to go out there. That's recommended, and I'm looking forward to it. Just a new, cool, different experience. I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, a couple of those episodes are gonna be pre-recorded. One of them is already recorded fucking long ago. It's actually the first time I ever tried podcasting, or just recording anything at all. I did it with my boy Steve from Florida, and that's gonna be one of the episodes that I release. And the other one I haven't done yet. But stay tuned, bitches. I'm not gonna leave you hanging, right? While I'm fucking away for 3 weeks. I wanted to ask you guys too before I start the free writing portion of the podcast, and ask you what you guys are reading. See if you have any book recommendations or anything like that. Right now, I'm reading the 50th Law, which actually is an excerpt from theirs. What the free writing session part thingy that I'm gonna do is from, which is a book that was co-written by 50 Cent and Robert Greene, and it's pretty cool. I like Robert Greene a lot. I've read Mastery, and planning to read the 48 Laws of Power after the 50th Law, and they seem to be within the same vein. He's a cool writer. I've spoken about him before on the podcast, so you guys are probably tired of hearing about that if you have been consistently listening to these things. But yeah, I'm reading that now. Just curious what you guys are reading. Let me know. Always into checking out new books if they come recommended, and I check out the reviews on Goodreads and stuff like that, and see if it's something that I think I might be into. So hit me up and let me know. What else? That's pretty much it, guys, for the intro stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Spun Today, SPUN Today. It's the same thing on Instagram, at Spun Today on Instagram. Facebook page, facebook.com/Spun Today. You can listen to the podcast on YouTube, on Tumblr, on the actual website, which is spuntoday.com. And what else? Rate and review the podcast, absolutely, on iTunes and Stitcher. That helps the podcast gain exposure and more people get onto it, and popularize it a bit. And also, I mentioned in the last podcast, I have an open invitation to any writers or creators that want to be on the podcast. Hit me up. We'll set something up, probably like a Skype interview, or if you just want to do a question answer type of thing over email, or I could read it out during the during one of these free writing sessions. then that'll be cool too. Whatever, we'll figure it out. It's like a fluid thing, nothing set in stone. Still working on that. I want to do like a 2 to 3 questionnaire type of thing for writers and creators and stuff like that to fill out on the website. Still working on that to add it on there. Like I mentioned last time, I got the idea from Paul Gilmartin and his podcast, which is the Mental Illness Happy Hour, which is pretty cool. You guys should check that out as well. And he has like a questionnaire that his listeners like fill out, and he reads like on his podcast, and it's pretty cool. So I got the idea kind of sort of from that, but just working on formulating like the actual questions and stuff that interests me and that hopefully would interest some of you guys. And what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hit me up, subscribe to the newsletter, let me know what you guys think of the show, the podcast. You can comment throughout the website on any of the free writing posts, like the one I'm going to read to you guys today, or any of the short stories. And for those of you that don't know, all of these short stories, which are on the website at spuntoday.com/short stories, I also release as audiobooks, like these little mini audiobooks with like sound effects and stuff like that. I try to make it like legit and edit those and make it sound like a professional audiobook in my own little way. Check those out. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Let's check out the post that I'm going to read today. So the way these work, for those that don't know, is that on my website, spuntoday.com/free writing, these are literally freely written thoughts, not, formulated or thought out or planned out or anything like that. It's just my reaction to something I may have read or seen or heard. And for this particular one, I have like the quote, which is in red, from the book, The 50th Law, like I mentioned before, which is co-written by 50 Cent and Robert Greene, which you guys can click on, and it'll take you to the actual book on Amazon if you want to purchase it yourself. And also support the podcast by doing so, because you'll be going through my Amazon portal. And then under that in blue, it's my freely written thoughts of like my reaction to that particular quote that resonated with me in some way, shape, or form. So if you guys want to read along, you can go to spuntoday.com/free writing, and it's the first post up at the top. Well, depending on when you listen to this. And it's posted on May 6th, 2015. And its title is The 50th Law, 50 Cent and Robert Greene. And the quote in red is, "Your fears are a kind of prison that confines you within a limited range of action. The less you fear, the more power you will feel. The less you fear, the more power you will have, and the more fully you will live." Let me read that again, because I just butchered the whole shit. So it's quote, "Your fears are a kind of prison that confines you within a limited range of action. The less you fear, the more power you will have, and the more fully you will live." End quote. And then I wrote after that, "What is power to you? Freedom from fear is power to me. What's fear to you? The worst fear I've experienced in my blip in time, 31 years, has been being afraid to be myself. To essentially hide behind the constructs of who I thought others wanted me to be. Afraid to be into whatever the fuck I wanted to be into, because I wasn't who or what I was, quote, supposed to be, unquote. Going with the ebb and flow of societal and familial norms because it's easier, all the while wanting something else. That's fear. That's bitching out. And it doesn't have to be on a grand, life-altering scale. On a micro level, there could be certain areas of your life, of your character, that you've been putting off changing. But until when? take that first all-important baby step of pinpointing those areas and addressing them objectively and to yourself. Only then can your powerful journey begin. You'll without a doubt look back on the issue or issues and wish you'd addressed it sooner. The gains you make that at one point in time seemed unattainable, you begin to realize can and will continue to accumulate exponentially as long as you're putting in the effort. When you slack, when you fall off, as you sometimes will, remember that that endless pool of power awaits you whenever you retake that all-important first baby step. I wrote that recently, actually. This is a recent post. Thursday, April 30th, 2015, at 8:55 a.m. And I actually wrote that on the train right before getting off my stop, going to fucking work in the morning. But I was reading and I liked it. Pulled out my notebook and just started fucking writing. Fucking Prince Royce style on the train, like he says in one of his songs. But yeah. For those of you that don't know, I usually like to read these things and reflect on what I wrote, see how I feel about it, if I still feel the same way, because I normally post shit that I wrote a year ago or more, 2 years ago, or whatever. This is fairly recent, so I still feel the same way. And something stood out to me is the point. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. I said something like what are you waiting for? Or oh, okay, in that sentence that goes, on a micro level, there could be a certain areas of your life, of your character, that you've been putting off changing, but until when? That until when part stands out to me in, or I guess I could reflect upon something I heard on the Joe Rogan podcast when he was speaking to, I believe it was Rich Roll. It was one of the recenter podcasts in the last 2-3 episodes or so. And he mentions how, some people are stuck in the rat race and they they're going through life and they think somewhere, maybe not directly or literally, but somewhere in the back of their mind there's always a thought of the fact that somewhere along the line they're going to hop on that happiness bus, and then their life is going to be completely different and they'll be happy. And shit just doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? You have to, or at least I've been feeling and learning lately, that you have to just begin doing something in the direction of that happiness that you're looking for, not put it off and wait until the hypothetical something that you don't even know what the fuck it is that you're waiting for. You know what I mean? You're just going through the motions and going through life and work and home and work and home and work and home and a vacation here and there and work and home and work and home, and just doing the same shit over and over. And before you know it, life just passes you by. It reminds me also of the movie Boyhood, which was a dope movie. I really liked it, that my brother put me on to, actually, and it took me to watch. It was really good, really, really fucking good. And to me, that was the whole concept of that movie, especially with in its own way with every character, but was much more apparent with the character of the mother. And there was one scene in particular where the son is leaving to college, and the daughter had already went, and she's no longer has a husband, and the ex-husband, and broke up with the second husband, and then broke up with the boyfriend and stuff like that, because she was always protective over her children, and things weren't working out between them and the kids, and she just kind of broke down in one scene, and she was she was kind of like, is this it? Like, I thought things would work out differently. I like envisioned things, being different or becoming different, or like the scene made it seem like she was like also waiting for that point in time. Like she went through all her like trials and tribulations with her relationships and like raising her kids and making sure that they're all right and not wanting for anything, and then focusing on herself, but in a way to just better her family and raise her family up by like going back to school and getting her degree and then becoming a professor in college, and then getting wrapped up in that whole world and just teaching and grading papers, and before you know it, she looks back, her kids are grown, off to college, and she's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck was I waiting for? So it's like, even like I said before, like it doesn't have to be like on some grand scale, life altering, I'm gonna quit my job and move to Tibet and become a monk type of thing. It could just be, working out or fucking speaking to somebody you haven't spoken to in a while, or anything, anything like within you, within your character, within, I don't like the way I fucking I don't know, anything. Pick something that you don't like about yourself and pinpoint it. And I don't like the way I get lazy when I know I'm supposed to write and I don't write. Like last month, by the way, was a shitty fucking month. If you guys saw the stats that I posted on my writing, like I like to post every month, kind of like to kick myself in the ass type of thing, and like to try to motivate myself to like write every day. And last month I was like at 40% for the month. 40% of the days I actually wrote, which was fucking disgusting. Fucking disgusted with myself when it comes to that. And like shit like that, you like pinpoint issues like that and focus on them and trying to make them better. And I just think it's like I said, that first baby step is just, it's super hard in the sense of, you have to begin to gain momentum in that type of direction. But when you look back on it, it's really just like, oh shit, I just had to like tell myself this is the issue, and then from there it begins to slowly snowball into a more positive direction once you just fucking acknowledge it, like to yourself, because you definitely know it, like in the back of your mind, whether you tell it to yourself or not. Like, I'm a fuck up in this, I messed up with that, or I fucked up with this person, I'm being mean to this person, or I could have done this better, I could have done that better. You definitely know it, whether you fucking address it or not. So I just think it's a matter of addressing it and taking it from there, man. That's the first step, the first baby step, and then where the journey takes you from there on out is yet to be told and up to you, obviously. I don't know where it's going to lead you. You don't know where it's going to lead you. But you don't want it to be where it's at now, right? So there's only one thing you could do is take that first step and see where it leads you. And just know that it's not like a one-time deal type of thing where, you changed it and you make things better, and then let's say down the line you fuck up again or slack off, and you stop writing again for a couple weeks, and then you get that much more depressed and like, oh fuck, I thought I fixed it and now I fucked it up. Like, it's a constant thing that you're always going to be like battling with, that you just have to continually re-examine and revamp that important first baby step, like I called it in that little piece. And that feeling that you get when you actually do something like positive that you're like proud of and happy about, that feeling is not scarce either. Like, it's attainable each and every fucking time that you do it. Like, every time I like sit down and write, even if it's fucking 2 pages, like, it makes me happy with myself, whenever I record and grind it out and release a podcast at fucking midnight, the night before it's fucking due. I happy about that, and it like motivates me more to like continue doing it and continue pushing myself, and it's continuing to snowball, and I like it. And then there'll be fucking days where I don't want to do it. Like I didn't want to for the last couple of days. Obviously, I was being fucking lazy, and then kicked myself in the ass and made myself do it by addressing the fact that it has to come out when it's supposed to come out, and I can't, fuck up the schedule now. Been going strong for 19 episodes, a whopping 19 episodes, and why fuck it up now, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. With that, just gonna do that one post today, guys. Again, it's probably gonna be a shorter episode than normal. That's all I got for you guys today. Unfortunately, for those of you that love listening to this, and yeah, that's pretty much it. To support the podcast, you can do several things. Like I mentioned in the intro, stay in touch. Follow me on Twitter at Spun Today, on Instagram at Spun Today. You can subscribe to the YouTube page, which is on the link for it is at the bottom of my website, spuntoday.com. You can click on the little YouTube logo. Listen to all of these podcasts on YouTube as well. You can subscribe to the newsletter, where I will definitely not bombard you with spam or anything like that. I'll just shoot you over an email and let you know whenever a new podcast comes out or a bonus episode, and any of new like short story or anything like that I add on there. And you can subscribe to the newsletter by going to spuntoday.com/contact. And at the bottom of the contact page, there's a very simple name and email address type of subscribe deal that you can do there. You can also check out spuntodaypodcast.tumblr.com if you're a Tumblr head or whatever they call people that use Tumblr. And what else? You can donate using the PayPal donation button on that same contact page. You can also use the Amazon banner, which is at the top center of the contact page. And what that does is it helps support the podcast financially. Whenever you click on the Amazon banner there, it takes you straight to Amazon's website. It does not cost you anything extra whatsoever, but you do your shopping like normal on Amazon, and Amazon just kicks me back a couple pennies on the dollar just for driving traffic towards their website. You can also like the Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Spun Today. And the number one way you guys can help out, that I hope you all do, is rate and review the podcast on iTunes and or Stitcher. Go on iTunes and Stitcher, click on the podcast, and click on the star all the way to the right, give it a 5-star rating, and say something positive and nice about the podcast, and let me know what you guys think. Just wanted to say also, on a somber note, that I lost my uncle last week, and he was 85 years old, and he was like in a diabetic coma for like about a week, I think it was. And so I guess that kind of sort of like softened the blow for like the whole family. But a loss is a loss, and it's always gonna hurt no matter what. And he, especially for my cousins, his kids, I guess it always hurts the most. I would imagine for like the immediate family. Luckily, I haven't had to go through anything like that for like immediate, like my parents or my brother or anything like that. Thankfully, but it just sucks whenever you lose somebody. So I just wanted to say, hope you're resting in peace, dear Louis. And it was it was an awesome run, 85 years, man. I hope I get to that. Also, wanted to mention my, hopefully we can keep her in our thoughts and in our prayers. My roomie Raul's sister, Jessica, who's been fighting the good fight against cancer for, I want to say, like somewhere around like 2 years already, or close to that. And lately has been doing as well, but we're obviously all still hopeful. And just wanted to say that, I mean, I don't know her obviously very, very well. I met her a handful of times. She's always, she was like a super, or is a super nice like person, and like sweet. And the impression that I got from her. I spent time with her like on her birthday party a couple months back, and the times that I've met her at Raul's house is that she was always like the life of the party type. Like the person that's always like perky and just like nice and friendly, like super cool, and like you get like a good vibe from them from like being around them. That's what I get from Jessica the times that I've had the pleasure to like meet her, and it just sucks, man. Going through what they're going through and what she's going through with cancer. She's 41 years old. So again, keep her in your thoughts, and hopefully we pull through that one, and that regardless of the outcome of anything, I think that's something that we should all strive to put forth, that positive, good vibe style energy that she puts forth, and continue to push that to our futures, and have that as a sort of guiding principle that we go by. Because I mean, negativity and douchiness and shit like that is always going to be around in abundance. So why add to it when we don't have to? So if you're listening to this from me, keep your head up, bro. Definitely here for you, man. And that's the episode, folks. As always, substitute the mysticism with hard work and start taking steps in the general direction of your dreams. Thanks for listening.